Hi everyone, and welcome to our latest video. In this video we're going to be working on this nightstand and I think this is from the 1920s. It may be a bit younger than that, but it's definitely in the Art Deco style, so we'll probably find out more as we're working on it. Daisy wanted to get up for this one. She was mithering me when I was trying to film this, so I thought I'd put her on my knee just to say hello. The other thing, I have got a new camera that I'm filming this video with for the first time, and this was a gift for my birthday from my lovely wife Emma. She's just amazing and I won't be able to do any of this without her, so if the footage is a little bit different, that might explain why. I have done a lot of test shots with it and hopefully I've got the right settings, but I'm not the most technically advanced when it comes to cameras, so please bear with me. I hope I'm not going to get any surprises when I come to do the edit. I think I've got it right, but we'll see. Anyway, enough of that. We'll have a look around it in a second. Sit back, relax and enjoy. And as always, thanks for watching. I got it from Facebook Marketplace, this, locally. And I got it from a guy who just used to use it in his shed. And as you can see, obviously it's not been looked after. I think he said it was his grandmother's or something like that, or his wife's grandmother's, I can't remember exactly, but obviously it's not been looked after. It's got paint all over it and the finish is failing all over the place, but let's go around it in a bit more detail. As you can see, the top is not in the best of condition. Some big scratches, lots and lots of paint spills, and the finish is all bubbling up. You can't really see it that well under all this dirt. The front again, pieces of missing veneer, rusty hinges, obviously paint all over it. That looks like paint as well. A little bit of graffiti. Nice. Looking at it, the finish is terrible here. It's all coming away. More paint and finish failure at the side there. The handles are really nice. I'm hoping they'll come up really nicely. They seem to have, they're either solid walnut or they've got some sort of burr veneer on the centre there. Really nice. We've got a lovely smiley face drawn on the side. When I say lovely, it looks a bit spooky that actually, but so we can sort that out. Yeah, I think it's been a bit of a test thing for spray paint this. So hopefully that's on the top of the old finish, so that should come off hopefully. The draw's pretty free. It's got this lovely sticky back plastic in it. Inside is not terrible. It's got a nice veneer on the inside there. This little removable shelf. The back is in reasonable shape. I can't see any maker's mark on it at the moment. I've also got some more missing and bubbling veneer at the bottom. So all in all, it's not too bad. It just needs completely stripping, some repairs, only a few minor repairs, and then completely refinishing. So we'll just crack on. Right, first thing to do, let's remove what we can. So we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of these. Ow. That's quite an old mechanism. Little spring on a ball. You can see that. It's a bit warm in the workshop today. I know for some of you 80 degrees won't be that warm, but believe me, for the UK that's hot. I have got the fan on, but I have to keep turning it off because you can probably hear it over the top of the audio. But don't worry, I'll soldier on. Just need to take this handle off, but as you can see, there's no nut or screw on the other side, which means this will be glued in. it'd be like a little wooden dowel at the back of this wooden handle, which is a lot of the time what you get with a wooden knob like that. So I'm going to try and heat around there. I'm hoping it's like a hide glue, with it being an old piece, and I can sort of melt the glue a little bit and pull this out, but I don't want to damage this, but it'll just be easier to finish if I can take this handle off. Obviously if I wasn't refinishing this I wouldn't use this method because it is bubbling up the finish a little bit. Yeah, that's not budging, and if I try and twist it too much it's just going to snap the dowel. So I think I'm going to have to refinish this with it on. It's not a big deal, it would just been easier if I could take it off, but right. There's one on the drawer, so I'm not even going to attempt that one. Right, we'll just work around it. There's a little bit of rust on these hinges. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with these yet because they don't look to be brass. But get this rust off. Right, I'm going to attempt to scrape off the finish, but as you can see on this surface, this just slides around, so as soon as it grips, it's just moving. So a little bit of a tip, just get some of this non-slip back in for rug to stop mats and rugs sliding. So just stick it on there, and there you go. Looks a treat. Oh, that's ideal. Look at that wood. Really nice. This is why I wanted to take the handle off. So I'm going to try a bit of acetone on that. Okay, I spoke too soon about just being able to scrape it. This is the back of the door and I've started scraping it and it's like more like a lacquer than it is a shellac. So I'm just using a bit of acetone just to soften it up. I'll just leave that on 30 seconds or so. Right, pretty much got all the stain off, sorry, all the finish off there now. This is like plastic, I don't know if it's paint or it feels like plastic, this red stuff. She's a bit warm. It's unusually hot here in the UK today and she's a little bit warm. So she might not be performing as she normally does. You're not saying hello, you're turning your back on everyone. Okay. Daisy, where's your cork? Where's your cork? Yeah, can't really be bothered today. I'll give you a little update on Daisy later on in the video, but we've had an eventful couple of weeks with her, which is why there's been quite a big delay in the videos, but I'll explain that shortly. Right, it's time to take this lovely paper off. I'm hoping I was going to say, I'm hoping it's just going to peel off, but... Sticky back plastic. There we go. Right, that was easy to get off, but it's left a load of gunge on the bottom like the adhesive. So I've got this sticky stuff remover. I've used this before on wood and it's been fine. Okay, got rid of that now. Right, it's time for the big one. These curves can be a bit tricky when you're scraping, and I wouldn't advise you to do what I'm going to do now if it's the first time you've used one of these scrapers. But you just get a feel for how much pressure you can put on and how thick the finish is and how easy it is coming off. So ideally you want to be going like that with the grain, but you'll see in a second I'll go against the grain. But like I say, I wouldn't advise you to do this if it's the first time using a scraper. I noticed the base is a little bit loose, but it just looks like it's screwed in. So I'm just going to unscrew it because it'll just be easier to get the finish off if it's not attached. Okay, once I've got this base off, I've noticed there's a few issues with it. There's a piece of veneer missing there, that veneer's lifting, and there where there's a join. There's also bits lifting there and quite a few lifting at the back here. So I just need to sort these out. Right, I need to fix this piece of veneer, and I've got some of this burl walnut stuff. And I don't know whether you can see this on camera. Hopefully you can on my new camera. So that's the veneer there, and it's about the same thickness as this, maybe a little bit thicker. But then you've got the substrate underneath, and then the substrate's chipped away there. So if I try and put a piece of veneer on there, it's going to bend over that. So I need to fix that little chip before I put the veneer on. So I just need to clean this up a little bit, a little saw. I've cut a little piece of wood on the bandsaw, it's a little slither. I can just stick that in there, it doesn't really need to be perfect. I'll just trim some of the excess off first. Right, give that a few seconds to dry, then we can trim it. There we go. Right, just need to straighten that up now. Right, let's leave all that to dry now. Right, this is the bit I've been looking forward to the most, getting rid of all this. Horrible. There is 2 whopping big scratches in this as well, so I'm hoping that's not gone right through the veneer, because everything else has been not too bad. Do my best to get those out, but I'm not super confident. They're really quite deep. Anyway, next. Alright, there's just this little patch here now. I've removed the finish off everything. I think this is the only little piece of veneer. Okay. Whoa, that wasn't planned. Look at that. That was a big piece. Obviously I can glue that back down now. Just use this little veneer saw just to trim it off. You can just do this with sandpaper if you want. Don't really need to use this, but there we go. Just finished off with that bit of sanding. Right, I did say that I'd give you a bit of an update on Daisy, so if you're not interested in this, that's fine. Just forward on. It's only I'll just give you a quick update because some of you have asked. We've finally got to the bottom of all the skin and eye and ear problems. We think it's a food allergy, possibly to some sort of protein. So at the moment she's on 1 food, no treats, for at least 8 weeks to see if all the issues she's had clear up. When we took her in to see the dermatologist, she gave us a comprehensive plan of treatment. She also had to do a procedure on her under general anaesthetic where she had to go right into her inner ear, and she's removed these huge slugs of build-up of wax and gunge and hair. She actually showed us the video of that. It was unbelievable. And that's not because we haven't been taking care of her ears. That was because all the medication that we were given wasn't getting right down into the inner ear. So the treatment we were doing wasn't really having any effect, even though we were told to do it by the vets. Anyway, long story short, we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we've found the issue, and it is just a case of keeping her on a controlled diet. So she is feeling a little bit better, as you can see. She's chewing a washing line now. Her foot's still a little bit sore. She is limping a little bit still, but she's on the mend, and I really do appreciate all the kind support you give to both me and obviously to Daisy. You know what she means to us. So that was it. Hopefully I didn't bore you with that, and I'll get back on with the restoration. Thanks for listening. Right. Right, that's all that finish off. The plan is with these, or with this, I think the ducks have just landed actually. Just heard them. Let me show you. This is how bothered Daisy is by the ducks. Look, not bothered. Here she comes. Say hello to the duckies. but she's not bothered. Right, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to feed and water these ducks. Here she comes, look. She taps on the window, even though the door's open. She taps on the window. Right, this is a little bit too cheeky, isn't it? Hey, this is a bit cheeky. I think she might be hungry. Come on, you need to come outside. Come on. Come on, ducky. Come on. Come on. Come on, fellas, get out of the way. Right, that's a little bit cheeky. Yeah. Come on. Come on, let's go. Right, apologies before I was rudely interrupted by the ducks. The plan is with this, hopefully, I can get it to a point where I'm just going to give it an au naturel finish. So I'm just going to put a clear, probably hard wax oil on it and just let the grain come through. But I'll know better once I've sanded the entire piece whether I can do that without putting any stain on it. The stain does hide a few of the imperfections, so I'll see how I get on. But like I say, the plan is to give this a natural finish, but we shall see. Before I start the sanding process, I mentioned earlier there's 2 really big gouges in the top. What I want to do is try and lift these gouges up a little bit so I can then sand. The problem I've got is this is a veneer. You can see that it's this 4 pieces of veneer, so I can't go too intensely with the steaming process because it'll just lift all the veneer off. So I'll do my best, see where we're at, and then make some decisions after that. Right, we'll try this smaller one first. Animal off the Muppets. That part there's come up really well, I think. That's definitely lifting. Right, I'll persevere with that. Leave it to dry and then see if we can remove the rest of the scratch with a bit of light sanding. Right, I've been at it now with the steam and the water and the cloth for about 10-15 minutes. There is still sort of a little bit of an indent, but it is better than it was, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that when I sand this it'll blend that in a little bit more as well. It's not going to raise any more, I just need to give it a sand now, but I just need to let this fully dry. Right, I'm just using 240 grit on this. I mentioned earlier this may be 1920s or in the style of a 1920s Art Deco piece. I don't think it is original 1920s because this looks a bit too modern. This number stamp, it's been written on the other piece but it's been stamped, so I'm not too sure whether when stamps were invented, but normally any writing would be done in pencil if it was that old. I think it's probably just done in a 1920s Art Deco-ish style, but still a nice piece of furniture. Ideally you wouldn't focus just in one place because you will get a little bit of a dint, but I guess it's the lesser of the two evils. What I'll do is I'm going to try and get this scratch out as much as I can, sort of in a localised area. So I'm hoping there's enough veneer in here to pull the scratch out, and then I can just even it up a little bit once I've got most of the scratch out. Right, I'll keep going and then I'll get to a point and I'll show you how it's gone on. Right, I've managed to get as much of the scratch out as I can, because you can see there I've started to burn through the veneer. So it's a bit of a pain, this, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to try and disguise these using some pens and stuff. So right, yeah, it's just unfortunate, really. I think I might have to stain this now though, but we'll see. There's a little bit of tear out that I didn't notice before on the back of this veneer. I'm going to use a little bit of this walnut filler. It looks dark, but it does dry quite a bit lighter than this. Okay, let's leave that to dry. All the sanding's completed now, up to 240 grit. I've had to do a bit of filling on the top, and obviously there's that issue with the veneer. A couple of other little flaws on it, so I think I'm going to stain this rather than just do a clear coat. I wanted to do a clear coat, but there's just too many imperfections on it, so I'm going to give it a coat of stain. But before that, let's get rid of the dust. These are the hinges I put in the rust bath before, so there's no rust on them anymore, but they're just steel hinges, which again might indicate it's not as old as I maybe thought, but right, before I stain, I just want to put this base back on. Right, this is walnut, so it might seem a bit daft using a walnut stain, but need to do a bit more work with that, let everything dry at the moment. Try and disguise that a little bit more. I'm going to try and use a bit of this water-based stain, just for touch-ups. This is actually walnut, so let's have a look, see what this looks like. Right, I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. So yeah, happy with that. Right, time for the top coat. And for this, I'm using my favourite Gilboy's hard wax oil. If you want to try this product, then I've got a discount link with Gilboy's, and I'll leave a link in the description. I think it's a 15% discount if you order direct from Gilboy's. So check the link out. Look at that. The first coat of hard wax oil has had overnight to dry. This is lovely and smooth actually, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over it with some brown paper, and all that does is it just takes off any little dust nibs that may have got caught in the finish. And I'm actually going to give this one 2 coats of the hard wax oil. I don't know if you can see, there's the repair that I did where I burnt through the veneer before, so I'm quite happy with the colouring, but for some reason that area there has got a higher sheen than the rest of it. I don't know why, but it stands out more because of that. So what I'm going to use some of this Gilboy's beeswax. This is beeswax polish. This stuff is amazing. Again, if you want to try any of the Gilboy's products, I've got a discount link in my description. This is the rose gold. So it's got a slight tint to it. Just a bit of 40 steel wool. I'm just going to do the top for now. Right, I'm going to leave that now for about half an hour. So while I'm waiting for that beeswax to dry, I'm just going to use some of this feed and wax for the inside. The only thing left to do now is put everything back together. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. It's completely free and you will see more videos like this. If you'd like to support me and Daisy on our channel, I'll leave all the links in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and we will see you on the next one.